If Ella had known this coffee would destroy someone's life, including her own, she would have turned around and gone home. Rain hammered London like it had a point to prove. Ella sat inside the warm cafe in Shoreditch, hands wrapped around a cup she had barely sipped. She wasn't normally nervous. Not after surviving heartbreak, moving cities, and rebuilding her life from scratch. But tonight, something felt different. Too different. The bell above the cafe door chimed. And there he was. Adam Wright. Tall. Sharp jawline. Clean black coat. A smile that seemed practiced but still made something in her chest twist. "Ella," he said, shaking raindrops from his hair. "You came." She managed a small smile. "I did." He slid into the seat opposite her, the warm yellow lights of the cafe catching the edges of his face. He looked older somehow. Not aged, just fuller, heavier with something he wasn't saying. "I'm glad you're here," he said softly. Ella had no idea that this man would lead her into a story she had never wanted to be part of. He said 3 words that should have made her walk away, but they only pulled her deeper. At first, their conversation was awkward, like 2 people trying to pretend this wasn't something else. Work. London rent. The transport strikes. Safe topics. But Adam's eyes kept drifting back to her. "Have you changed your hair?" he asked gently. "Cut it last month," she said. "It suits you." Silence settled, not uncomfortable but charged. She could feel the air shifting, thickening. Then Adam exhaled sharply. "Ella, I need to be honest with you." Her heart stuttered. He looked down at his hands. "I'm seeing someone." There it was. A stone dropped into a still lake. "Oh," she said, trying to hide the way her stomach sank. "But," he added, eyes meeting hers again, "I haven't been able to stop thinking about you." Her breath caught. She should have left. She should have stood up and walked away. But she didn't move. Instead, she whispered, "Why are you telling me this?" "Because," he said, his voice rough now, "I didn't want to lie to you. Not about this, not about her. Her. The woman she didn't even know existed 5 minutes ago." Ella felt herself leaning closer despite everything screaming inside her to keep a distance. You always know you're making a mistake. Right before you make it. When they stepped outside, London was shimmering from fresh rain. Ella hugged her coat to her body, breath fogging in the cold air. Adam walked beside her, hands deep in his pockets. "You okay?" he asked. "I don't know," she answered honestly. He watched her for a moment, jaw tightening slightly. Then, "Do you want to get a drink? Somewhere quiet?" Ella froze. This was the moment. The moment she could stop everything before it began. But then she looked into his eyes, tired, conflicted, burning. And she said, "Yeah, okay." The bar they chose was small, tucked between a vintage shop and a bookstore. Dim lights. Soft jazz. Felt like a hideout. They sat in the far booth, barely visible from the bar. Adam leaned forward, lowering his voice. "I feel different around you," he murmured. "Like I can breathe." Ella's heart betrayed her. She felt it too, that dangerous pull. "Adam, this is wrong." "I know," he whispered. "But I don't want to stop." The first warning always comes quietly, and always too late. Ella's phone buzzed. She glanced down, assuming it was a friend. But the message made her entire body go cold. "Stop seeing him. You don't know who he really is." Ella's pulse thundered in her ears. She looked around the bar. At the door, the windows, the other tables, suddenly aware of every shadow. "Everything all right?" Adam asked. She locked her phone quickly. "Yeah, work. Nothing." But the words on the screen burned into her memory. Not just a warning. A threat. Someone knew. Someone was watching. And Ella had just stepped into something far bigger than she realized. She thought she was going home alone, but someone had followed her. Ella walked back to her flat with her hood up, arms wrapped tightly around herself. The streets were quieter now, the rain easing into a light drizzle. She kept replaying everything. Adam's confession. His touch. The message. "Stop seeing him. You don't know who he really is." Her heart pounded as she climbed the stairs to her building. The old bulbs flickered overhead. London felt colder, darker. When she reached her front door, she turned once, just a quick glance behind her. But she didn't see the figure across the street, standing under a street lamp, still, watching. She stepped into her flat, taking a deep breath. "I can handle this," she whispered. But outside, through her rain-fogged window, the shadow didn't move, didn't blink, didn't leave. Someone was already pulling the strings. The only thing worse than a bad decision is waking up knowing you're about to make another. Ella didn't sleep that night. Her eyes stayed fixed on the ceiling while London's morning light crept slowly through the blinds, thin and colorless. Her mind replayed every moment with Adam. The confession, the bar, the warning text, the shadow outside her flat. By 8 a.m. she still hadn't moved. Her phone buzzed again. "Adam, I can't stop thinking about you. Can we talk today?" Ella stared at the message for a full minute. Her stomach twisted. Part fear, part excitement, part guilt. She got out of bed reluctantly, wrapped a cardigan around herself and stood by the window. Rain sprinkled lightly over the London rooftops. The street below was busy again. Noisy, normal, indifferent. But nothing felt normal inside her chest. She typed slowly. "Ella, we shouldn't. You're with someone." She hovered over the send button, then deleted it. Instead she typed, "Ella, where?" She stood there, phone in hand, hating herself for wanting this. Wanting him. A vibration. Adam, same cafe. 30 minutes. Ella's knees weakened. She closed her eyes. "This is stupid," she whispered. But she was already grabbing her coat. He didn't just come clean. He said the one thing she wasn't ready to hear. Adam was already seated when she entered the cafe. That bothered her. He looked too comfortable, too sure she would come. He stood when he saw her, that same gentle smile tugging at the edges of his mouth. "You came," he said softly. Ella took a breath. "We need to talk." "I know," he said. He gestured for her to sit. "I want to explain. Last night was intense." Intense. That wasn't the word she'd use. Dangerous felt closer. Adam leaned forward, forearms resting on the table. "I'm not happy," he said. Ella blinked. "With her." "With my life," he corrected. Then added, "and with her." He rubbed his forehead. "We've been struggling. For months. We barely talk anymore. I feel like I'm living beside a stranger." Ella's throat tightened. She didn't want to feel sorry for him. That would make everything worse. "You should fix things with her," she said. "Not come to me." But Adam shook his head. His eyes locked onto hers, raw and unguarded. "I felt more in 1 hour with you than I felt in a year with her." Ella's breath caught. "That's not fair," she whispered. "No," Adam agreed. "It's not. But it's true." She swallowed hard, torn between desire and panic. "I'm trying to be honest with you," he added. "I don't want to hide anything." Ella didn't know it yet, but Adam was only telling the parts he wanted her to hear. The parts that made him look good. Not the parts that would destroy her. It always starts with one lie, small enough to ignore. When Ella left the cafe, she promised herself she would not see him again. Promise number 1 broken. Promise number 2 came next. Her best friend Rachel called. Ella hesitated before answering. Rachel's cheerful voice filled the line. "Morning. You up? Want to grab brunch?" Ella stared at her reflection in a shop window. Pale face, tired eyes, hair messy from the wind. I can't today," she lied. "Work stuff." Rachel laughed. "On a Saturday? Since when?" "Since this morning," Ella said quickly. Rachel paused. She heard it. The hesitation. The something else going on. "Ella, are you okay?" "Yeah," Ella replied too fast. "Just tired." "Do you want me to come over?" Ella froze. The thought of Rachel seeing her like this, rattled, guilty, hiding, felt suffocating. No, I'm fine. Really." Rachel exhaled slowly. "If something's wrong, you can tell me." Ella closed her eyes as guilt slid down her spine. "Nothing's wrong," she lied again. "I'm just busy." They hung up, and Ella hated how easy the lying felt. It was only 11 a.m., and she had already lied twice. She didn't know she'd lie far more before this was over. The message wasn't random, and today the truth stepped right into her path. Ella reached the entrance of the underground station when she noticed her phone buzz again. A new message, but this time not a threat. A phone number, a location, and one chilling sentence. We need to talk. Today. 4 p.m. Don't tell him. Ella stopped walking. Her heart hammered loudly in her ears. Was this from the same person who sent the warning last night? Had they been watching again? She looked around. A man reading a newspaper, a mother pushing a stroller, a group of teenagers laughing loudly. No obvious threat. But her skin crawled anyway. She typed back. Who are you? The reply came instantly. Too instantly. You know who I am. And you're not safe with him. Ella's throat tightened. She felt sick. Lightheaded. There was only one person who would say something like that. His girlfriend. The woman he was not happy with. The woman he barely spoke about. The woman Ella had unknowingly stepped into the shadow of. Ella backed away from the station entrance, breathing uneven. Whoever she was, she knew about Ella. She knew about last night. And she was watching. She didn't mean to meet her, but fate has a cruel sense of timing. Ella didn't go home. She walked. Nowhere in particular, just walked through the city trying to breathe, trying to think. At 3:57 p.m., she found herself near Regent's Park. Her pulse raced with every step she took. She didn't know the woman's name. She didn't know her face. She didn't even know if meeting her was safe. But she needed answers. Then she saw her. A woman standing near the park entrance. Black coat, chestnut brown hair. The posture of someone used to waiting and watching. She turned. Her eyes locked onto Ella instantly. No hesitation. No confusion. As if she had been expecting her face. Ella took a shaky step forward. You're Ella, the woman said. Her voice calm, controlled, heartbreak hiding beneath the surface. Ella swallowed. And you're? The woman nodded once. I'm Lydia, Adam's girlfriend. Ella's stomach dropped. Lydia's expression didn't change. No yelling. No accusations. No tears. Just one sentence. You need to know who you're dealing with. Ella's blood ran cold. Because Lydia didn't sound angry. She sounded scared. When the truth comes from the wronged woman, you listen. Lydia didn't waste time. He lies, she said. All the time. He lies to you. He lies to me. He lies to himself. Ella felt her lungs tighten. She wanted to defend him. Stupidly, desperately, but she stayed silent. You think you're special? Lydia asked softly. I thought that too. Ella's heart cracked. Lydia continued, each word sharp and measured. He doesn't leave. He doesn't commit. He doesn't make choices. He just collects women. He collects attention. And once he has you, he gets bored. Ella shook her head. He said he wasn't happy. Lydia laughed, hollow and humorless. He said the same to me about the girl before me. Ella froze. He copies feelings, Lydia whispered. He mirrors what you want to hear. That's how he pulls you in. Ella's stomach dropped violently. Lydia stepped closer. Her voice barely above a whisper. Ella, he's not who you think he is. And if you stay, he will break you. Those words hit Ella harder than any scream could. The truth should have set her free. Instead, it trapped her even deeper. Ella walked home in a fog. Not from rain, but from everything Lydia had said. Every step felt heavy, every breath too loud in her chest. Lydia's voice echoed over and over. He mirrors feelings. He collects attention. He will break you. Ella wanted to believe Lydia was exaggerating, bitter, heartbroken. Anything other than telling the truth. But Lydia's eyes, they held no hatred. No spite. Only exhaustion. Only warning. Ella reached her flat and leaned against the door inside, sliding slowly to the floor. Her hands trembled as she tried to make sense of it all. If Lydia was right, then Adam wasn't conflicted. He wasn't torn. He wasn't a victim in a failing relationship. He was dangerous in a way Ella had never understood. Not violent, not cruel, but emotionally destructive. A man who didn't know how to love without hurting. Her phone buzzed. Adam. Did something happen? You disappeared. Adam. Are you okay? Ella's thumb hovered. She felt her chest tighten. The old Ella, the sensible one, would block him immediately. But the Ella sitting on the floor was already too invested, too tangled, too curious about the man behind Lydia's warnings. She typed slowly, "Ella, I need time." His reply came within seconds. "Adam, time for what? Did someone say something to you?" "Adam, Ella, please talk to me. I can fix whatever's wrong." Fix. The word felt ironic now. Ella placed the phone face down. She didn't trust him. But she didn't trust herself either. The only thing she knew for certain was this. She wasn't done with Adam. Not yet. Every story of destruction begins the same way, with the wrong person saying the right thing. Ella ignored his messages for hours. But at 9:14 p.m. her phone rang. Adam. She shouldn't pick up. She knew she shouldn't. But the silence in her flat felt suffocating. Her emotions were too loud, her thoughts too sharp. She answered. "Ella." His voice was soft, breathless, worried. "I've been losing my mind. Please talk to me." She swallowed hard. "I met someone today." A pause. A shift in his breathing. "Who?" he asked, calm but not calm. "Lydia," Ella whispered. Silence. Heavy, unbreakable silence. Then Adam exhaled sharply, frustration dripping from his voice. "She shouldn't have come to you." "She warned me," Ella said quietly. "Warned you about what?" Adam snapped, then softened his tone. "Ella, whatever she said, you can't believe her. She seemed honest." "She's angry," Adam said quickly. "She's scared of losing me, that's all. She'll say anything to keep control." Control. The word lodged in Ella's throat like a stone. "Is she lying?" Ella asked. Adam paused. Too long. Almost like he needed time to shape the truth into something prettier. "She's exaggerating," he finally said. "And she knows exactly what she's doing." Ella closed her eyes. His voice, gentle, soothing, wrapped around her like a warm coat. She hated how it affected her. "Please don't pull away," Adam said softly. "I can't lose you too." Too. The word lingered bitterly. "You never had me," Ella whispered. Adam didn't miss a beat. Not yet. Ella's heart betrayed her again. He wasn't the only one watching her choices, and the next message proved it. Ella lay awake in the dark after the call, exhausted but wired. Everything Lydia said clashed with everything Adam said, and Ella's mind spun trying to separate truth from charm. At 1:03 a.m. her phone buzzed again. Another message. From the unknown number. Her stomach clenched. "I told you to stop seeing him. You didn't listen." Ella sat up instantly, heart hammering. "You're playing a game you don't understand." Another message followed. "Last chance, Ella. Walk away." She scrambled out of bed and checked her front window. Nothing but rain-speckled glass and dark street. But someone knew. Someone was watching. Someone was angry. Ella's breaths came too fast. Who was sending these? Lydia? Or someone else? Someone darker? Ella typed back shakily. "What do you want from me?" No response. She felt the weight of the silence like a hand around her throat. She sat by the window until sunrise, terrified of what the next message might bring. The worst truths don't break you at once. They break you in pieces. Ella couldn't stay inside. Her flat felt haunted, by Adam's words, Lydia's warnings, the threatening messages. She walked aimlessly through Camden until she found herself near the canal. It was quiet, gray, peaceful in a lonely sort of way. Her phone buzzed. It was Rachel. "Ella? I'm worried. Are you free to talk?" Ella hesitated, then answered. Yeah. Can you come?" 20 minutes later, Rachel appeared with hot drinks and concern painted all over her face. "You look awful," she said, not unkindly. Ella laughed weakly. "Thanks. What's going on?" Rachel asked gently. Ella swallowed. She didn't know where to start. "I met someone," she finally said. Rachel's eyebrows lifted. "Okay, is that a bad thing?" "He's complicated," Ella whispered. "He has a girlfriend." Rachel froze. "Oh, Ella. That's not even the worst part," Ella added. "His girlfriend spoke to me, and someone else has been messaging me threats." Rachel's face morphed instantly into alarm. "Threats? Ella, what the hell?" Ella explained everything. The warnings, the lies, the confusion, the pull she couldn't break. When she finished, Rachel didn't speak for several seconds. Then quietly, "Ella, this isn't about love anymore. This is about danger." Ella stared at her hands. "What if Lydia's right?" Rachel asked. "What if he's lying to both of you? What if he's done this before?" Ella wanted to deny it, but a small, terrified part of her whispered, "What if he has?" The more she tried to run, the more he found her. Ella returned home late afternoon. She wasn't prepared to see Adam standing outside her building. Her heart lurched. He looked damp, tired, anxious, and too familiar. "Ella," he breathed, stepping toward her. "You weren't answering. I got worried." She instinctively stepped back. "How did you know where I live?" Adam hesitated. "Then, you mentioned your street once. I guessed." Ella's stomach tightened. "That doesn't explain why you're here," she said. Adam ran a hand through his hair. "Because I care about you. Because I needed to see you." "No," Ella whispered. "You needed to control the situation." Adam's jaw clenched. "Is that what Lydia told you? Does it matter?" Ella asked. "You need to go." But instead of leaving, Adam stepped closer. The air between them thickened. "Ella, look at me," he murmured. She did. And that was her mistake. His eyes were soft, wounded, full of longing, the kind that made it impossible to think rationally. "I'm not the villain she's making me out to be," he said quietly. "I'm trying, Ella. With you, I feel something real." Her pulse betrayed her again. "I can't just walk away from that," he said. Ella felt herself weakening. Because she felt it too. Even if she wished she didn't. The air inside the cafe felt unusually still, thick, heavy, almost aware. As though the walls themselves were waiting for the moment to explode. Emma stood near the back table, the same one she once shared with Jack during better days. Days that now felt borrowed, scripted, stolen. Her fingers trembled, not from fear, but from the weight of everything that had led her here. Across from her, Jack walked in first. He looked drained, older, like the kind of man who finally realized he had crossed a line so deep it left him stranded on the wrong side forever. Right behind him came Sarah. Not angry, not triumphant, just painfully calm. Emma swallowed hard. This was the moment she had both dreaded and needed. Jack sat down slowly. Sarah remained standing for a moment, her eyes scanning Emma's face. Not with rivalry, but with a kind of sad recognition. She finally sat. Silence held the three of them together like a fragile knot. "Thank you for meeting," Jack said quietly. No one responded. Because this wasn't a moment for thank yous. It was a moment for truth. Emma finally broke the silence. "Say it, Jack. Everything. No filters." Jack ran a hand through his hair, shaking his head as though the words physically hurt to pull out. "I lied to both of you," he said. "Because I wanted to be everything. The loyal partner. The exciting man. The hero of my own story. I kept believing I could balance it all if I just kept promising everyone enough love." Sarah's jaw tightened, but she didn't speak. Emma leaned forward slightly. "Was any of it real?" He looked straight at her. No excuses, no charm. "Yes. Too real. That was the problem." Sarah exhaled sharply. "Jack, none of this needed to happen if you had just said the truth from the beginning." "I know," he whispered. "I know." He turned to Emma again. "I dragged you into something you didn't deserve. And I hurt you more than you will ever say out loud. I'm sorry. No excuses." Emma felt a sting behind her eyes, not from heartbreak but from release. The apology she once begged for felt strangely small now. She nodded slowly. "Thank you. But I don't want anything more from you. Not clarity, not closure, not love." Sarah gently looked at her. "Emma, I never wanted you to be the enemy. We were both just women who trusted the same lie." For the first time, Emma saw her not as the other woman or the main woman, but as another person blindsided by promises. Emma finally spoke with steady strength. "I'm done being defined by where I stood in someone else's story. I choose myself now. Not either of you." Jack's face fell, but he nodded, not out of acceptance, but because he knew she was right. A new silence filled the table, not tense, not sharp, just final. Emma stood up first. "This ends today," she said softly. "Not with revenge. Not with shouting. Just release." Sarah stood too. There was a shared understanding now, strained, painful, imperfect, but real. Jack remained sitting, shoulders heavy, the cost of his choices visible in every line on his face. As Emma walked toward the door, she didn't look back. Not to see if Jack called her name. Not to check Sarah's reaction. Not to confirm whether leaving was the right choice. She didn't need confirmation anymore. She had finally reclaimed the version of herself that had been fading ever since she stepped into a story she never volunteered to be part of. Outside, the cold London air hit her skin, but instead of feeling sharp, it felt clean. A beginning disguised as an ending. Her heart didn't feel broken. It felt open. As she stepped into the street, she whispered to herself, "I wasn't the other woman. I was just the wrong woman for the wrong man. And that's okay." A small soft smile appeared. Because for the first time, Emma wasn't walking away. She was walking forward,